The Australian film industry has become one of the largest film industries in the world, being the 11th largest film industry in terms of revenue. From directors such as Peter Weir, who famously directed the critically acclaimed film Picnic at Hanging Rock, and actors such as Hugh Jackman, Nicole Kidman and Russell Crowe, who have acted in Oscar-winning performances. Australia has produced some of the most well-known celebrities and boasts a widely celebrated cinema culture. The Australian film industry has been able to rake in $900 million in box office revenue and $2.5 billion in other film industries over the last few years. A substantial amount considering the lack of funding from the federal government, having a cap of $53 million per year for Australian films. Australian films that show Australia's culture are The Kelly Gang, which was a 1906 movie written and directed by Mark Tate. The movie was the first feature film ever created and depicts the life of outlaw and bush ranger Ned Kelly and his gang associates in Australia. This film is a fantastic example of Australia's film culture and the types of movies Australia loves to make. Another famous Australian film is The Rabbit-Proof Fence, which was a movie released in 2003 and based on the book with the same name. The film follows three half-white, half-Aboriginal children who escape their white abductees sent by the government and embark on a journey to find their homes by following a rabbit-proof fence that was used to separate the rabbits and farmland for over 1,000 kilometres. Australians over many years have been stereotyped through tropes and exaggerated representations of the Australian character. Tropes are the figurative and metaphorical meaning of an expression and are represented through characters and figurative language. An example of an Australian trope is a larrikin, which is represented as being an outlaw who's boisterous and mischievous, yet good-hearted. Tropes also tie into the views and values of typical Australians, as the exaggerated representations are based on the different types of Australian behaviour. The film Red Dog, directed by Kriv Stenders, is an Australian comedy drama about a beloved dog in a Western Australian mining town, where he befriends the town's mining workers and meets his master. The film is based on the true story of the famous Australian dog, Red Dog, and his adventures across Western Australia's Pilbara region. The film is a great movie to analyse as it conveys many interesting codes and conventions which help better understand how Australian films are created. One scene in particular, Red Dog's Tavern Bar, is a very important segment in the movie as it establishes the strong connection between Red Dog and John, who later in the movie is developed as Red Dog's master through mise-en-scene, camera techniques and acting. The scene plays out as is. Red Dog is surrounded by a crowd who are pressuring him to eat a live chicken. The mise-en-scene in this segment visibly shows Red Dog feeling uncomfortable and claustrophobic, as you can see him back away and can hear him whimpering. John walks into the bar and notably separates himself from the crowd as to show he doesn't want to participate. He notices that Red Dog is tense and immediately steps in. One of the crowd members starts a fight with John, but before the fight begins to escalate, Red Dog viciously barks at the crowd member, standing up for John. At this moment in the scene, we can already see the development of the relationship between Red Dog and John. The use of camera close-up shots of Red Dog allow for a closer look at Red Dog's facial expressions, including his downward ear movement, further showing his discomfort, and his eye movement, staring at John as a cry for help. John leaves the bar and tells Red Dog to follow him, creating a stronger mateship between the two characters. The film has gone on to be one of the most beloved movies in Australian history, making $21 million in gross revenue. The film was given $3.5 million in funding from the federal government, as the government funding in Australia is attached to policy reforms and other production companies, with the total cost of filming being $8.5 million. The regulation of the film industry is regulated in two ways, one being self-regulation where production companies, studios and producers, and the other being governmental regulation, both with the aim of following a moral guideline of what can and cannot be created and to prevent censorship. A recent film I have watched... Oh yeah, that's it. Done.